Great, thanks everyone for gathering. Hi, Peter. Hi, Susan. Can you hear okay if I'm speaking from here?
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Just so you know, in the room we have Curtis and Alan Clark and Claudia Clark, John Toten, Vic Guadagno, Scott Hess, Sandal Kate, and Janet Toten.
Wow, what a crew.
So we'll start by lighting a chalice just to mark this time together and our intention of giving thanks and imparting blessings on this project. So there are going to be a few different brief portions of our ceremony, and first we're going to, let's see, Susan Weber. Great. Hi, Susan. I see that you've joined, but your video is off and you are muted, but hopefully you can hear us, and welcome. So we're going to start by just bringing ourselves into more presence in the building. Some of you this morning have already been in and out of the building and doing things and serving meals and in the archives, etc. And others have not, who are on the call, like that, have not even been in the building in several months. So we wanted to become more present to the building. And what I'm going to invite you to do for the next 5 or 6 minutes is to be present in the building if you are physically in the building, and if you're not, we're going to take you on a virtual tour of the building, and to just allow yourself to become more aware of memories, stories, things you might be feeling thankful for about this building and time that you've spent here. There might be memories that arise that aren't so pleasant too, you know, all spaces we live through a variety of emotions, even in this wonderful space that we call our spiritual home. So those of you who are in the vestry, you're welcome. You could just stay put. You can have a seat and just have this time to mentally, you know, let your reflections come to you. You are welcome to move about the building too for a few minutes. And for those of you on Zoom, Bertus is going to take you around the building, do a little bit of a tour so that you can see each space and let your memories and stories come to you over the next few minutes. And then we're going to regather here and have a time where we share aloud some of our gratitude. We'll then move into sharing our hopes for the days ahead. And we'll round out the whole ceremony by sharing some words of blessing on the project. So for now, you're welcome to allow yourself some time of memories to come forward, thinking back, and Bertus is going to take my phone, and you on Zoom are going to join Bertus on a silent tour around the building. And we'll try to reconvene at about 12:15, 12:16. Okay? And anyone in the vestry, you're welcome to this. You can sit, you can move around the building if you'd like.
I just thought of that.
Okay.
I just figured it was focused on something else.
Sure. Sure. Okay. So will his tour be on the screen? It will? Okay, so we could see. Oh, if you put it, I'm going to not write. Yeah, Bertus, you want to tour. Yeah, if you like.
Can we go with Bertus? Is going with Bertus a choice or not really?
Sure, you can. Absolutely. Just be mindful of distance.
Yes.
I'm gonna do watch. Here, over here, yes, good. So our conversations aren't going. I'll do that. Sorry.
It's a great, great tour, Bertus. That is very cool. Oh, look at that bear. Oh my.
So for those of you on Zoom, as you've been touring around, if there are any memories or gratitudes you want to share, you'll have a chance to speak them aloud, and you're also welcome to write in the chat. And I think Vertus has just returned. to the vestry, and as you on Zoom have concluded your virtual tour, you're welcome to share in the chat, write down on a green slip of paper a memory or gratitude. And we'll also, just in a few moments, open up for anything you want to share out loud. And Susan Weber, I want to make sure that you can hear what's happening. Can you wave your hand if you're able to hear? Great, great, wonderful to see you, Susan.
So Joan,
Yes, Peter.
seeing Vertus go through the sanctuary
Yeah,
was very striking, and it called to mind the major restoration in the late 1990s, when so much careful attention was given to the history, and we ended up voting on 3 proposals for painting schemes. And it was a very dramatic, significant time.
thank you for sharing that, Peter. Yeah. Is there anyone else who'd like to share aloud a particular memory or something you're feeling grateful for in connection with the building? Scott?
My connection with the building, that's Scott. Amy and I just moved here and almost immediately came to this institution. And we've just met so many lifelong friends and acquaintances that we never would have interacted with, and just had some just life enriching experiences because of this building, and we've met together.
Thanks, Scott. Wonderful. Sandal?
I have photos, real photos at home of having both of our boys dedicated here by Maggie Rebman. That was early days in my connecting with the church through my in-laws being associated with it. And, I don't think I knew as much about UU values and principles back then. I've certainly learned a lot over the many decades. And now those boys are 40 and 37.
Thank you, Sandal. Anyone else in the vestry who'd like to speak something aloud? Claudia?
Yeah, I spent several years, not as many as Peter Tom's, going through all the church records, both here and at the Vermont Historical Society. And what I've always been impressed with reading through all the old minutes and the special warnings and things like that was the generosity of others towards keeping this building standing. And that I'm very grateful. I have a lot of gratitude for those who came before us.
Thanks, Claudia. Anyone else in the vestry who'd like to say anything out loud? You want,
Sure.
yeah, Vic?
Yeah, my daughter started asking questions about religion that got us here. How long ago? 6 years maybe? And just to think about the community that's developed around and her, what she was looking for, community, and still introduced to that spiritual search. But the one thing I remember is when they would leave, the song, what was the previous song that would be sung in the kids'
Yeah,
group?
oh my God.
Flow like a river.
Oh,
Constantly.
no. Oh my God.
May you go in peace. May you go.
Oh my. Well, every time it's the river.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Anyone on Zoom? Susan, either of the Susans or Peter, anything else you'd like to share in terms of a memory or a gratitude? Susan Baker.
Well, I put it on chat. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I'm very new in the church, but here are my favorites that I was remembering. The chandeliers at Christmas. A beautiful organ that's in front of us, not behind us, as it is in many other churches.
all the little hallways that remind me of all my church experiences in my life, and the children up on the altar. I think having the children be sprawling all over the altar area is one of my favorites. Very grateful.
Susan Weber, would you like to say anything?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I remember with fondness the restoration of the parlor downstairs in the vestry. It was quite sad. Paints were peeling from the ceiling. The walls were sort of gray with age. The carpet was torn and ragged. And under the leadership of Paul Olson, we all worked very hard. It must have taken over a year to rally the fundraising and make all the decisions about how to make the place more beautiful. So I can't remember all the people who were on the committee. I do remember Ellie Webster with great fondness. We worked hard on deciding things like upholstery, paint colors, and so forth. It was a very rewarding experience.
Thank you, Susan. Yes, and one more thing.
Yeah, when Susan said upholstery, that triggered my memory of wanting to reupholster the cushions on the pews upstairs. They were, for a long time, kind of probably originally red, but became faded pink, and they were corduroy, like, if I'm right in remembering. And we had, somebody went to the right place, to a upholstery company, I think it was the folks in Northfield, and brought back some samples and laid those out on the pews. And we all, the Women's Alliance at least, gravitated toward the same sample, which is what we chose for the upstairs. And I still love it. It's just a perfect match.
The power of consensus. The rare times it transpires. Wonderful. And I think we had a couple that were shared in the chat worship yesterday that Lourdes is going to read out loud.
Yeah, so Dawn Evans said that she is grateful for all the work that has been done for the months on end by the AQP team. Elaine says that thanks for the time in her small office upstairs, a cozy and comfy spot that she will miss. Denise says the brightest and warmest blessings for the shared brightest and warmest blessings for the building. And Liz Benjamin says, even masked and socially distanced, it was wonderful to rehearse with the choir in our beautiful, meaning-filled sanctuary yesterday. So
wonderful. Thanks, Verda. And I want to also lift up thanks for all, as Claudia was alluding to, the many people over decades of time who have cared for this place, who have seen through various renovations and improvements, and all of those who have given of their precious financial resources through bequests to the church that allow for this project, and other donations that allow for this project to go forward. Yes, John.
I'm grateful for the staff, for all the staff that have been a part of this church. They spend an awful lot of time here. They do not work 8-hour days. They labor in silence for a salary that probably, if they worked in any other place except for church, they would get paid, appreciated, get bonuses and gold. And we give them thanks. They are an incredibly dedicated group of people. I've been in church almost 30 years, and I can't think of a person that has been a member of this staff that I would not want to have as a friend and a colleague. It's just a
Thank you, John. Wonderful. And now I'm going to invite us to move into thinking about and sharing our hopes for the days ahead. So we are, in fact, some of the construction has already begun. Some of the materials have arrived. For those of you on Zoom, let's show them the carpet on the floor. So on the floor, but we will, even in a bigger way, be embarking upon this grand project, the air quality project. And so I invite us to just share for a few minutes any hopes you want to articulate for the project ahead as it begins. If those of you in the vestry, if you want to write anything down, the orange slips are for hopes you might have for the days ahead, and we can also just share out loud. Let's start with folks on Zoom. Does anyone want to say aloud anything you want to just put out into the world, into the universe, a hope you have for the days ahead as we embark on this project? Peter, go ahead.
Just remembering the very large banner that was out on those steps. The church is open, but the building is closed. Now we're going to have a sign that says, the building is open.
I'm just going to second this. Susan Weber, Susan Baker, do you have a hope you'd like to say?
I do. I guess my hope is that we'll all get over our kind of being mired in fear about gathering and come home to the church. And come into the building. That's my biggest hope.
Wonderful. Susan Weber, do you have something you'd like to share?
Well, simply to underscore what everyone else is saying and feeling, and that we're just waiting longingly for perhaps this suggested March date for recongregating, if that's the right verb. It will certainly be a moving and welcome experience.
Anyone in the vestry want to say aloud a hope for the days ahead? Janet.
That there be joy and positive energy put in all the nooks and crannies that are presently opened up, or holes that are being opened up, and that then they come out in the future when others have projects.
Yeah.
I hope for the day when we can fill this with serving 150 meals and calling Janet to say, Janet, what do we do with this? And letting Claudia roll her eyes when I try to make a dumb joke.
Wonderful. Thanks, Scott. Anyone else? Yes, Alan.
I just hope we don't have any more surprises as we go through the building and do our construction and get it ready for crowding together again.
Yes.
We've had a few, but we're working our way through them all, and keep your fingers crossed. So keep
Yes.
at it.
Wonderful. I think Sandal is adding another quarter to her. She'll be back. Anyone else have a hope to share? And I will thank you for all the ones that have been written down. Will be, if you're okay with me, I'm going to do a little documentation of our ceremony and share that out with the church community. Okay. Yeah. I don't want Sandal to miss our words of blessing, which is going to be our final portion here of our ceremony. And then we'll wrap things up.
I'll just add that.
Yeah, Nick.
I hope we remember the process, and this process brings us together because we're doing it together. And it has been that way. You know, it's been a long road, but it seems like we've been really just staying where we are at the moment, remembering that it is a process.
Yeah, absolutely.
But just as your hands were moving forward, it is a process, and we are staying in one place a little bit, but we're also taking baby steps to a whole new envisionment of what we could be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. We're gonna do our final, some words of blessing. This is, responsive. So you're, when, you know, at your point, I'll let you know, you can just say, we bless you. For all those whose imagination, creativity, and vision have brought forward the plans, designs, and drawings that make this project possible.
We
We
bless
bless you.
For all those whose names we will never know, who assemble, package, and transport by ship and by truck the ducts, boiler, and air exchange equipment necessary for this project.
We bless you.
For all those whose hands will take up the tools to demolish and open up walls, tear up floors, saw new planks, carry heavy equipment, screw and fasten bolts, run electrical wires, and otherwise labor and construct from start to finish.
We
Bless
bless
you.
You.
For this sacred house of worship and fellowship, whose walls and joists and floorboards hold the memories and stories of generations upon generations past and yet to come, who will one day very soon welcome us back as a gathered community.
We bless
You.
May we feel our hearts gladdened as construction begins. May the process be smooth and unfold with minimum delay. May we show patience and kindness with one another and with all of the unexpected twists and turns that may yet arise. And may the day come sooner rather than later that we gather safely together once again, sharing the beautiful fresh air flowing throughout these walls. And all that.
Bless you. Woo!
Thank you for joining us on Zoom.
Thank you.
Enjoy the
Thank
rest of your
you.
day.
You
Take
too.
care.
Wonderful event.
Bye.